Hey everyone, welcome back to the live stream. We're going to be going over an update of the things that we've been working on in the shop, and then at the end of this video today, or the stream today, we're going to go over installing the Flatline Vanco rear rack. So this is, if you guys are interested, this is an accessory rack. So this is kind of what it looks like. You can put all kinds of stuff on here. We're going to be putting on some Smitty built traction boards. So these traction boards are what are going to get mounted to the back. And with these cool tie downs here, or knobs to hold it down. So we'll be doing that later on in the stream. But yeah, let's catch up and talk to you guys about what has been going on in the shop. So I'm going to hop onto the computer over here and let's go through just the last couple days, or actually the last 2 to 3 weeks is what a couple of these videos are coming from. So look forward for these videos when they come out. The first one is going to be this one. So Thomas had come to the shop, and that is our Marine 1 van, and he wanted to have a way to air purge the water tank. So I came up with this design to, it's just kind of what I thought in my head to make the most sense of his scenario, because his kitchen galley is really tight, closed quarters, and if you, instead of wanting to drain and winterize by adding antifreeze, or the RV antifreeze to your van, you can do something like this, where you connect a pressurized air system, air compressor, to this, and you can actually blow out the whole entire system with air and essentially not have to use the RV winterization. So the second part right here, I don't know, my videos are out of order. Here we go. So this one, this is the inside of Thomas's kitchen galley, and this is with the sink taken out. So if you're kind of looking down in here, and so you see we have our pull-out drawer on the left, we have our relocated Ford AC right here in the middle, then we have the air purge that I installed, and it's a retrofit. So if you guys wanted to retrofit something in your van which wasn't designed initially, this will work. Then he's got his gray water tank, but I'll fast forward here and let's see if I can show you. So if you look right here, all I've done is I've taken the output of the water pump and bypassed it. So it comes into the system, and then it'll go around into this thing. I know this is hard to follow, but let me zoom out here. This isn't a video, so you guys will actually, in the future, I'll have this done. But let's go back to the other picture. So what actually happens is the water comes in here and comes down this through this valve. And this valve stays open when you're using the water system. And this just comes right back through here, and that'd be the normal flow. When you want to winterize it, you will shut this valve off, connect an air compressor to this line, and it needs to be regulated. That's really important. You don't really need to do anything above maybe 5 or 10 psi. I just did it about 5 psi. It was enough. Anything else, it's going to blow water all over the place. So, but what you can do is this. This is all brass fittings here, and then we got PEX A, of course. But this is going to allow water not to come out, so you don't have to worry about it leaking when this valve is open. But again, this is just my interpretation of how to put one of these things together. I didn't watch anything or copy from anybody. I just kind of made this up. And really, it was because the space was so tight, I really couldn't do a formal system. And really, this actually turned out to be excellent. It went right in. It's all basic parts that you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot. So this is what the setup looked. This is what the system looks like. Water comes in. The shutoff valve is important because You do not want to pressurize the system towards the pump, and especially a diaphragm pump at that, because it could damage it. And then, the water comes down and then goes out here. And you can kind of see this yellow stuff. So I use something called Rector Seal number, let's see here. Yeah, Rector Seal number 5. And it's a food grade NSF rated sealant, and it's a soft set. And what's nice is you just put it on there, and it sets over time. You don't have the Teflon tape stuff going on. Plus, I think it's a better sealant, just in my opinion. So we did that, and then the next thing that we did was hook it up to the air compressor. And so I had an air compressor here, and then I had a regulator, if you guys can see that. And let's see here. So there's the regulator, and you guys will see this whole step, but I kind of show you how I'm purging the system. So you want to have all the valves open when you start this process. And you can see the air's coming out. And by changing from hot to cold, this is how you clean out or purge a hot water tank, which is usually challenging. Sometimes people actually have to remove the hot water tank. And I think this is a good solution. And yeah, it looks like we got some more people in the chat. If you guys have any questions on anything that I'm going over, this is just an update live stream to tell you all the stuff that's been going on in the shop. But if you have any specific questions on any of this, hop in the chat, ask me the question. I'll be happy to pause and answer it for you. But I think this is going to be a really great video when it comes out, because it's going to show you how I put everything together, how it flows, and then how I actually did the air purge to get everything cleaned out of the van. So look out for that. The next thing we checked off the list for Thomas was we redid some plans for the Inhabit floor mats. So they needed to be redone. So we did them, and I'll tell you what, guys, I know these mats are expensive, but the craftsmanship, attention to detail, and this is not sponsored in any way, but just give you a heads up, the template that I designed, I was wondering how close they were going to get to my specifications, and it blew me out of the water. All these little intricacies that went around the 80-20 that I planned, the little flap going underneath the fridge, they nailed it. I mean, you guys can see here, this thing is going in perfect. And it really changes the feeling of the van. The van just feels really fresh. It really brightened the van up. There's nothing wrong with the floor that we put in for Thomas, but he wanted to protect the floor even more and then have an easier way of cleaning it out when he's bringing gear and all that kind of stuff in and out of the van. So he got this made, and yeah, it's awesome. The front part there too, look at this. So this corner over here, just every side. Now what I did is I installed these buttons. So I did this button install, and that's just to really keep it held down. Even if you get the mats done, an installer is going to have to be the one to install these buttons because they need to be in an appropriate place to hold everything down. So just a heads up on that. And then I did these on the side. And you guys can see it just, yeah. Even this corner, I mean, look at this corner. Just, they did a great job cutting this out. Now they do CNC these mats, I guess, after they do the paper template. I was on the phone with them for a while when I did this originally, so it was more about how they wanted the template design from me. But going further, we talked about this spot. For example, we had existing L track that we didn't want the floor mats to cover, and yet we were able to say, hey, Nick, why don't you just map the mat out, and then instead of us cutting the hole out, when you get it, you go ahead and just notch it out, because it's a woven vinyl, it's not really going to fray. And then I put the 2 snaps right here just to keep everything nice and held down. But that's the back of the van, and you can see just really incredible. Looks excellent. But we'll have that video coming out. It's a harder video to make because I actually go through and I have footage from when I'm redoing the template. When I'm saying redoing is this template had to be corrected from a previous installer. So it was brought to me to correct, and I just want to let you guys know, heads up, make sure that if you go to any installer, you have a good conversation kind of start to finish of where things are going to start and then where things are going to end. It's good not to have this kind of gray area. So when it came to my shop, I took care of everything, and we made sure that this install was well, because if this had been made by the previous installer, then it would not look good in his van. So I'm glad that we were able to pick up where they left off, correct the template itself, and then really give Thomas a better fit in his van. All right, where was I going here? Yeah, so that's what we did on Thomas's van: the air purge, the mats, the water system. Let's hop on over to the next customer build we have currently in the shop. And the first thing that we were doing was installing the heater. So we are installing the Webasto STC 2000 underneath the passenger seat. And this is interesting. So I have not installed a heater under the passenger seat. I kind of like to install it in the back. However, there's no room right now as far as where I want to do the power system and water system. I don't want the heater back there, so this is going to be a perfect place for it. And to be honest, 9 times out of 10, this is where everybody puts it anyway. So this is more of a normal location to install this. So coming through and getting the plate laid out, there's only about 6 inches of room to actually access all the pipes coming in. Believe it or not, there's all kinds of different framing members underneath there. There's the foot box for where you get into the van. There's a bunch of riveted material, and yeah, it's actually a tight. It looks like it would be not a tight space, but it's a very tight space. So you just have to be really specific where that hole is cut out. After you lay everything out, the easiest way that I think to do it is to cut out this side and then cut out this side over here with a hole saw, and then go ahead and take a jigsaw and cut out the middle tab. And then just to make a note when you're doing this, that how you're going to bolt this underneath there. So we're actually widening the holes up to make sure that if there's any misalignment, you don't have to worry about it kind of binding and not going through the holes. So I make them just slightly wider. And I didn't end up using the foam. What I did is I did a Permatex sealant. So this is Permatex. They make a high temp, it's called Ultra Copper. and it's good to like 700 degrees, which the heater's not going to get that hot. But I do that to seal this metal plate to the bottom of the van to make sure everything's sealed, not just from the weather, but any exhaust gases type of thing that might come through. And then I went through and did the standard, rust preventative, sealed everything up. And then the last step was to install this. So this is a directional vent that goes in the back of the passenger seat. The passenger seat it has a slight angle to it. Well, actually it's about 45-degree angle. It's pretty steep. So you need something to correct that so that it's not, blowing directly to the floor once you install this. And so there's one spot here, and what I did is I took I think it's a 2.5-inch hole saw, and I cut this out, and then I went through and orientated it so I could actually have 3 places to install this. So you have to have these recessed kind of like panhead screws so that when you snap this plastic in, it can still rotate. If you guys have ever installed a heater. So after I repainted it and cleaned it up, this is what the final product looks like. So super professional, nice and clean. I wanted to screw it in, but I actually ended up having to bolt it in because for some reason I couldn't find the panhead screw. I could order it offline, but if I can buy it at Lowe's, it's much quicker to keep going. Yeah, so that got installed, and then the next thing that is on the list to finish today, I was waiting on a part. The company that I'm working with, not sponsor, but the company that I found to, let's see here. Okay, let me, the ADD going on here. This is what I wanted to show you. I had 2 tabs open. For the 2000, the STC 2000 from Webasto, it's a 60 millimeter heater duct pipe. So make sure it's the 60 millimeter. I think there's like a bigger 80 millimeter or something like that. And it looks, the photo, 75. 75 is the big one. And sometimes people mistake the 75 for what they need. And so what you need for the 2000 is a 60 millimeter. So make sure you get that. You need this so that we can kind of snake the pipe through underneath the seat, because when the heater goes in, there's not enough room to actually, vent it out where it goes directly. You need to kind of do an S shape, and we'll talk about that later. But this is the rotatable vent. So you can see here, it's also 60 millimeters, and it allows you to, if you can imagine this being rotated 180, it blows up, but if you have it installed at an angle, it'll now blow straight out. So that's why we purchased this nozzle. Okay, now back to what we were talking about. So our customer for this next van, we wanted to have, Apple CarPlay capabilities, really just to have a big screen that fills up the dash, looks nice. Everything was great about the van itself as far as all-wheel drive, high roof 148. However, the stereo that came factory in this model that I had was not what we wanted. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is what was installed from the factory. The reason I'm waiting on a part today to finish this is kind of what's scheduled this afternoon to be finished, as soon as that part comes in, is, believe it or not, this is a Sync 3 system. And you would never been able to convince me this was a Sync 3. But I looked on the Windows sticker and it said Sync 3. So the kit that I ordered, you have to order a special adapter for Sync 3. And when I looked at this and the specs, I said, there's no way this can be Sync 3. Because all this does is when you turn it on, there's AM, FM, and when you put it in reverse, there's the camera. There's no fancy settings or anything like that. So yeah, I was shocked when I looked at the specs and it actually said it was a Sync 3 system. And I'm guessing that has to do with just the way Ford does it, to where they build all the internals of the van for the fancy stuff, and then if you get the lower stuff, they just don't plug it in. I'm guessing that's how that goes. Anyway, so this is another video that'll be coming out soon, and this is me. We're removing this whole entire unit out of the van. And if you guys see right here in the middle of the screen, this plug, these two plugs control the air conditioning in the van. That's what they do. They control the air conditioning, the hot and cold. Believe it or not, Ford hid the rear backup camera feed into the air conditioning module. So I don't know if this is because they ran out of wires or they tried to repurpose something, or wasn't expecting anybody to, do some aftermarket products for this car. But so it took us a while on the phone with customer service to figure out where that cable was. So if you order the system, and I know I'm going from the end and kind of coming back, but while I had the video up, this sensor actually controls the air conditioning, but there's a cable in here that actually is the feed for the rear view camera. Blows my mind. Anyway, so I went ahead and took the whole entire dash out. This company, let's hop over. I think you guys get the point of this. So let's go to the website. Okay, so this company is called Dynavan, and I couldn't find any other product like this. There's a lot of stuff that's, retrofitted. So this is what I had, and the ending video, let's see here. So this is, get rid of this advertisement. So this panel right here, believe it or not, this panel you're looking at that's surrounding the screen comes with the kit. So what you do is you will, where'd my video go? So you'll actually take this whole entire unit out and you will remove the vents, the air conditioning, power, climate control. You'll remove those. They all pop out. And then after you've popped those out, you will pop them into this new faceplate. And this new faceplate will house the two vents and the AC controls, which have the video, the backup camera video signal wire. So wild. Anyway, so if you want to have this type of look, so if you want to go from this, where is it? If you want to go from this, or even the Ford Sync, and you want to have something with more options, so not only does this connect to iPhones, but this also has Android Auto. It has a different function for iPhones. So there's a button that connects. I'll do a video, obviously, of how to actually operate this, but it's really nice. It is a high-end product. I thought it was, just a normal aftermarket, but it's a very high-end product, especially with how you have to install everything. And so right here, you'll find it overseas, like in Europe, but you need to go to the Dynavan North America site. That's how you're going to purchase it. And then when you go to the site, you'll click on, it's the Dynavan 8 for 2019 and up. Okay. So this is the unit. Now let me back up one tab. Do you see this? This is access backup camera retention harness for transit with Ford Sync. So this was what we didn't know about because typically a Ford Sync is going to be a big screen. You're going to have multiple functionality within the screen, and this van did not have it. So apparently it does have it. So this is what is being delivered today. It is this retention harness, and the reason it's so weird is this cable bypasses the air conditioning communication cable. So this plugged into the air conditioning cable, and then you can see this little video wire comes out of it. I've installed a lot of stereo systems, and this is the wildest thing I've ever seen. Anyway, so that is the Dynaman system. Super cool. There's actually 2 additional USB ports in the back to where you can put, like, I know this is going to sound dated, but you can do like MP3 player or like another device, like a USB drive, maybe some music on it. It's just 2 USB ports. And then there's an additional, since this one is going to be bypassed through the AC line with that connector, technically there's an additional video input that is a separate channel. But if you guys have any specific questions on that, just put them in the questions in this video, and then I can, when we go do the video to go over it, we can show you all the details. All right, so that is one thing. And then finally, before we talk about the our go over the Flatline Vanco install today, that rack, we will follow up with the window cutout. So we started installing the rear awning style windows in the back of the van. So I went through and taped everything up, got everything ready to go as far as install. I was talking to you guys about blades. So what you want to use is, it's called Bosch Metal Very Thin. So that's the jigsaw blade that you're going to want to use to cut out the sheet metal of a Ford Transit van. You don't want anything coarse because it can get real jagged and possibly hang up. So it might take longer to use the Metal Very Thin blade, but the cut is way cleaner. You have to do less sanding to prep and put the window in, and it's just all in all better experience in my opinion. So we cut one hole in the middle, and then that's what I use to begin my cut. And then I use tape. So you see how I kind of put tape on top of the van? So as I go, I grab it, and it keeps everything from flapping all over the place. And then right before you end, you'll have all this tape, and then you can just pull it out with one hand, and everything is super clean. And this one, there was no modification. This was a perfect cut the first time. So I didn't need to notch anything out. Sometimes on these windows, there is a spot weld right over above this tape that's on the frame of the CR, the AW1033 window. And that spot weld will have you notch the sheet metal out. It kind of sucks. You have to notch the sheet metal out to pop the window in. And it just makes you feel like you didn't get the hole right, but you're okay. Also, there's 2 plastic tabs on the bottom, one under here on this tape, and then one under on the right side of this tape. And those plastic tabs actually sit on the metal frame and then pretty much hold the window in. So if you're trying to put the window in and it's not working, even though you think you measured 3 times and cut once, check for the spot weld up here and then the 2 plastic pieces. They may have moved or unsnapped, so just a heads up. Okay, so I actually talk about it here. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So this is our cut line, ignore the permanent marker up here. This is for the foam surround. But see how they spot weld this, or weld the frame together? And I've got about, I don't know, maybe a millimeter or two of gap. So if I was any tighter, that would be giving me problems with popping the window in. So it's okay to, cut like a little, half moon out of that. Just don't go too far because, see, we already can see the start of the foam gasket, and that's all you have sealing out, the rain. So just heads up on that. And then another just pointer, if you guys are watching, is the radius on these corners. Really practice cutting out your template correctly, because if you do the radius too much, if this radius is too aggressive, then there's not going to be enough foam to seal the window well. So you're going to want to make sure that you get that sealed properly. Let's see, so that was, was that it? Okay, so that's it. What I did after this is I took the window back out, I sanded everything down, and I spray painted to do rust preventative on this whole entire thing, really getting it up underneath here where I grinded, any surfaces that I grinded, clean it with denatured alcohol, and then I masked it all off, and I just spray painted it with 2 coats of Krylon Fusion. Is that right? Yeah, this stuff right here. Krylon Fusion. I use the matte black, but guys, this stuff right here, this stuff is the best. This says satin black. I just grabbed it really quick, but it's an all-in-one. It's paint, primer, maximum rust protection, fast drying, any surface. It's really cool stuff. Just to talk more about it, you can spray it. So you spray it on, and then you wait 1 minute, and then you can lightly recoat again. So it makes helps me speed up a lot of stuff that I do in the shop, because I'm always rust preventing. It's just something I really want to do. No, TC, I haven't dived into kind of that secondary alternator or supplemental charging circuit to where battery gets low, then it cranks up. My philosophy at the current moment, it may change, but I want to do very simple systems. I don't want to get too complicated with the electrical, because possible failure of those systems in the future. So just doing a lot of solar on top, good correct wiring as far as coming out of the van. Now you see, you were talking about when the house battery is low. If you want to protect yourself from the are you talking about the house battery as far as like what all your components are running off of, like your inverter and everything? Or are you talking about the engine battery? I'm guessing you're talking about the battery that the whole van's running off of, like your refrigerator and stuff like that. To be honest, if the battery is getting that low and you're relying on the engine to charge it, you're probably looking into a secondary alternator situation, because the maximum output from a Ford without taking too much from the alternator is anywhere from 80 to 100 amps safely. I know in the I think the Ford service manual, it talks about 150 amps, but I wouldn't go that far. I would only use up to 100 amps from the factory alternator. So if you have, say, a 400 amp hour system and your batteries are dead, running the van, it's going to take 4 hours to recharge your whole system. So what I like to do with my customers is say, hey, if we're going to do lower on the battery side. Let's maximize solar. But honestly, it has to do with how are you going to use the power. If you're going to come home after a trip and plug it into the house to top off a massive power system, but you don't have a lot of solar, and that's kind of how you operate, that might be one way. Or if you find yourself on the road a lot, you can go with a smaller sized battery system because you're on the road more, so you're direct alternator charging all the time. So say like you're going to camp, but then you hop on the highway to do 4 to 6 hours of road driving, you're always going to be topped off before you get to the next location. So it's just kind of a give and take with what you want to do. But yeah, that's a good question. I've not tried an air nibbler. Now, I've watched a lot of videos about air nibblers, and it looks very aggressive. It does not. I cannot see myself. I haven't used it, but I can't see myself doing nice, neat cutouts with the air nibbler. I've also seen people use like shears. By far, even though I haven't used that, the jigsaw is just so easy to control. It's super clean cut as long as you have those the very fine metal cutting blades. And the jigsaw I use, I'll just show you which one. This is what you would, if this DeWalt XR battery powered, there's no battery on it right now, but this one is perfect. So see how they have this big surface down here? So this allows you to not lean, so you get this super nice precise cut. Plus it's got this flap right here, so changing blades is like this quick. So see, this is used as a T-shank, just goes in and that's it. And it also has a speed setting, so you can go 1 all the way up to 7, and you have ultimate control with this. And control is what you want. You know, just go slow and smooth, because the more precise you are, the less sanding you have to do. These windows will go in, you know, really, really nice. Because when you cut out windows on a van, it's one of the more stressful things. Because you can't go back. Once that sheet metal it's gone, I mean, you've cut through the skin of the van, there's no redos. So I just take my time, make sure everything's nice and precise. And for me, an air nibbler just sounds too aggressive for that. Plus air tools in general, you know, maybe for like maintenance work, like taking tires off, engine work, air tools are good for that type of stuff. But I thought about investing in air tools for this shop, and everything I do that's electric, like my drills, it's just better. It's better, it's quieter, so that's what I go with. Let's hop on over, and you guys can ask all the questions you want, but I'm gonna move on to the next part of the video. So we're going to go over installing this. So this is not sponsored. This is just another component. So I'm going to install this while I'm waiting for that Dynavan part to get dropped off at the door. And this is the transit rear door platform. So if you guys want to have like a Rotopack, or you want to have a place to do your mountain bikes on the outside of your van, this is a great option. And if you guys have known the van that I'm, you know, behind me, this is the one that we took to Adventure Van Expo. This van is pretty much showcasing, you know, shop capabilities. So we kind of went all out. We have the rear tire carrier from Flatline Van Co. We've got the rear rack. We've got the bed system, window trim kits, the kitchen galleys, the roof rack, all that stuff. But this one we're going to go and put together today. Now I'm getting smarter with these live streams, and I know you guys don't want to have a 2 or 3 hour live stream. Well, I guess it depends on what we're talking about. But I've already pre-drilled, and I've already rust prevented all the holes. So basically we're just putting bolts and stuff together. So this should be a pretty quick install. And I'm going to go over a couple things with the door install, some stuff that kind of didn't really trip me up, but I can see if you guys were installing it that might give you a little bit of a headache, and if I can give you some help on some tips on what will make it a little bit more enjoyable, I think it'll definitely help you out. So first thing, let's go on their website, and all you got to do is scroll down to where it says view the installation guide. And each one of these products has a PDF. It's going to give you a list of tools and all the stuff that comes with the kit. And then you're going to have the parts, your drill templates, which are really important, the bolts, and then you're actually going to go through this list. So we're just going to quickly go through this. So you'll basically take off the hinges. Pretty simple. If you have 2 people, this makes it's just that much easier, because you're going to either have to use some way to rig the door and hold it so that you can get the bracket on. So I did have help with this one as far as installing this plate. Once the plate's on, we're going to come inside the van, take off this cover, pop off the trim. We're going to go through, we're going to mark our locations for where our holes are going to be drilled. There's only 2 that need to be drilled. One on this inside pocket of the door, and then one on the outside right here. Then there's just 2 bolts on the top, 2 bolts on the bottom, a stabilizing bracket down here at the bottom, and then inside you have this support bracket that slides up inside the door, and that finalizes the whole install. So I'm going to leave this instructions open. I've already read through this a bunch of times. So yeah, let's just, we'll kick this off real quick. So this is on the passenger side. We did do the driver's side over here. There's a live stream that I do on this driver's side. The video footage I wish was better. That's why I set this up to be a nice filming today. But it'll work, you know. It's not up to my standards, but the video was a little fuzzy when I filmed this, but it still goes through the process of what I did to install everything on the driver's side. So on the passenger side, once you peel this cover back, what you're going to want to do is take a piece of plastic or whatever had the bolts in it, and you're just going to want to stuff it in here to just grab any of the metal filings that come out. You just don't want them to get in the back of the door. It's not going to ruin anything. It's raw steel. It's going to rust instantly as soon as moisture gets to it. So what I did is I took this piece of cardboard, and if you just lightly put it on here, then this gooey stuff's not going to stick. And then I just put little pieces of tape. Okay. So this was my way to catch all the metal filings. And then I went through with a paintbrush and that Krylon Fusion paint, and I just took a little artist brush and then this, and I go through and I just make sure everything is nice and rust prevented. I allow that to dry. The first thing that you're going to do once you get this, before you do that hole, let me actually go in order here. So the first part of this is to grab these templates. So the first piece you're going to have, the reason you got to peel this back is you're going to have 2 openings here and an opening here, and that's going to be what you line this stencil or template up to. Just get a couple pieces of tape. Make sure it's lined up nice and good here, just like that. And when you have the bottom finished, put your hand here with some pressure and then just roll this over and do that. Okay, so see how this comes out? You're gonna make sure that this is pushed in when you locate this hole, or it won't be accurate. So this is the first hole. So there's just one hole in the back. So let's just say that we already drilled our hole, which we did. So we're finished with this template. We'll take it off. Now where that hole was, what you can do is you can use something like this. If you guys have never seen this before, it's a punch down tool. And what this does is it's spring loaded, and so you can find something to do it on. So like this piece of metal, so see how this has nothing on it right now? It's right in the middle. I'm gonna take this and I'm just going to push down without stabbing myself. And you see how I had that pop? So that pop creates this little dot right there. So that little dot is going to be the guide to your drill bit. So once you have that little dot, your drill bit can start on that hole accurately and it won't walk all over the place. So I took a drill bit and I used a 5/32 to kind of do a pilot hole. And then this next thing I did was I went to the back door, the back side of the door. And so the back side of the door is going to have where you need to drill your other hole. So this is your template, and the body line of the van, and then the bottom of this, the transition where the window is, this is going to line up just like that. So right here you've got the piece of paper is on the body line of the door. Now depending on which one you have, this curve for the handle, don't go by this curve for the handle. Go by this side and the top side. You know, what I would do, well, this is what I do. I take that, let me go grab it. So I don't like to make mistakes. And even though technically if you follow the directions, you can trust the template, I don't trust the template because I know better. You know, there's something I could have misread or whatever. So I always try to find another way to verify that the hole is right there. So I took this and I just temporarily put this in place. And then I went and looked in the back and wanted to make sure that my hole was right where that template hole was. And when I confirm that, then I go back and drill the hole out. So, you know, read the instructions, but, you know, you don't want to go back and blame the instructions, because do a little bit due diligence and say, okay, where this lays out, does it make sense? Because this was kind of like a red flag to me that this was not exactly perfect to the contour of the handle. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, the template wasn't messed up or something. Anyway, I put it on, used the punch down tool, made my hole. Okay. And now this hole is been drilled, rust preventative. It's all good to go. So the next step is we are going to take this bracket. So we got this bracket right here. And I need to go grab something real quick. Talking too much, I'm gonna grab some water here. All right. So, if you have the holes drilled out, the final drill size that you're going to need to cut the hole out is 27/64. That's what it looks like. It's kind of an odd size drill bit. So I recommend you guys buy one of these if you don't know what this is. This helps you identify drill sizes. Because my drawer, I have tons of drill bits, but they're not technically organized. So I just bring this over there, find the drill bit I want, and get back to work. Okay, there's going to be a bunch of hardware that comes in a bag. We're going to install this here in just a second. And then what I do, so this is not in the instructions, but what I do is, imagine this is the part that mounts to the outside of the van. I'll take some RTV or some type of Permatex, and I'll actually put a little bit around here, and then I'll put it on the door, just to give me an extra peace of mind on sealing, to make sure there's no water getting anywhere. But yeah, let's keep moving on. Now remember, if you guys have any questions van related, put those in the chat. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and this is a little weird of how it kind of goes in. So you have to kind of go up and then rotate. So that's how this gets in here. And it doesn't feel like it's going to fit, but trust me, just rotate it a little bit and it will fit. All right, and it'll kind of hold itself in there. The next thing you want to do is you're going to take this Allen head with a very odd 7/32 wrench. Now I got provided with this wrench. I'm guessing that everybody gets this wrench. But yeah, so we are doing this part right here. So I'm going to look at it to make sure. So we're using this this one. Okay, I want to make sure I'm using the right thing. Where is it? Door backer, oversized flat washer. The oversized flat washer. Okay. So there's two washers in this system, and we want to use the one that's, as you guys can see, the bigger one. So it says use the oversized. We're going to put that in the door. Then I'm going to take the nut and washer and make sure I don't lose this in the door. That would be terrible. Okay, next we're going to take a 9/16 size wrench and a ratchet. I'm just going to wrench. We're going to lightly install this, just because we need to And don't let the wrench slip because you're going to dent the back door of the van. I haven't done that, but I'm just saying I can feel myself doing that. So one thing I've learned from building vans is you always have to think 2 steps ahead. You know, if I cut out this window or if I put this bracket in this location, you know, am I going to be able to access it later? Is it going to be impossible? That sort of thing. Okay, maybe just a little bit tighter. Okay, so I just kept it, it's tight, but it's, you know, I can still move it. So next is the hard part, because now I got to lift up this whole, I'm pretty sure, I've got an idea of how I'm going to do this by myself. I think I moved this bracket. I think I'm going to have to bolt it to the outside first and then tighten this up. Because I test fit the bracket and everything lined up. As soon as I tighten this top one, it pulled it out of alignment, which was interesting. Huh. Ah, there it goes. There it goes. Okay. Okay. So somehow I have to keep it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this Permatex. So I'm ready to go. I think I'm going to tape the bolts to the outside. That'll be my second hand while I'm doing this. But if you guys are still watching, now is a good time to ask questions if you got them. So actually, let's see if we can close this door without the bracket going nuts. Nah, we're gonna have to keep the door open. So we're gonna keep the door open and then we're gonna lock it into place so we can push against it. I think that's the plan. So my thought process is I'm going to hang the bolts or hang the bracket on the bolts and then kind of hand tighten the bolts on. Let's see how well this works. We got more stuff. We still got we're gonna mount the traction boards and all the other good stuff. So we still got some more of this to do. Okay, so we got our bolts here. The thing is not light, just to give you guys a heads up. This is not light, and I would recommend that you do this with 2 people. All right, I got a bolt on the bottom. All I gotta do is just get this top one. Okay, that worked out. Okay, so now I can swing the door back open. This is the part that I thought was weird here. So I've got the bracket lined up with a hole. Okay, so the whole thing has to come up about 1/8 of an inch. So the next step is we're going to take this bolt with the sealed washer, or the washer that seals it. And but before we do that, we need to open this up, and we need to get our sealant around here. Again, the sealant is not part of the install. It's just what I do because if I were you and I drill a hole in a van, I don't care if it's the heater, this, rubber's not, with the exception of the awning windows. I've had really good luck with them just having zero problem. But something like this, yeah, I just feel better if I put a nice big piece sealed up like that. All right, now's the tricky part. We gotta check our bracket, and then I have to somehow lift this up. In the instructions, they said to use a slim ratchet. So I think this is what they meant by slim. I had it going the right way. So 9/16 ratchet on this one as well. Now I'm not threading this into a nut, I'm just threading this into, if you can imagine, there's real thick rubber on the inside as well as a pad. to secure it to the van. And so what I'm doing is I'm just getting the threads into that interior rubber. Okay. So let's see if I can leave that there and get my bolt and nut. And once again, without dropping it. See, this is what happened last time. If I had an improvement to make, I would have these bolts just be just a 1/4 of an inch longer, or maybe 1/8 of an inch longer. Because with the washer and the nut, it's kind of, I can see how it would be difficult for some people to actually put this on. To have enough threads to work with. Can you guys see that? There you go. All right, so now that this is lined up, before I get this one too tight, let's try to tighten this bracket up. Just so we're kind of like evenly moving this bracket into place. Okay, so that one's not all the way tight, but I'm going to tighten the back bolt first because this is the one that, it's not that much adjustment on. Okay, before I get ahead of myself, so that one's pretty snug. It's not all the way down. Before we do that, let's get the rest of these bolts in. It's possible I might have to move it. Well, no. These are actually going in really easy. See, that's what I was kind of talking about, is how this thing moves in and out. Now, just like on the last one, I have this angled all the way out as much as I can. Looking for that 9/16 that I put down before I started the stream. Where did that go? Oh well. Switch to an extension, it'll be all right. Yeah, so for this one, I'm just pulling the rack all the way out. So heads up, if you had a gear wrench, it'd be perfect for this situation. I actually don't have those. If you guys can believe it. I think I have like 4 gear wrenches, but they're not, I don't have a whole set. So I don't want the bolts on the outside, I want them on the inside. However, when you're tightening it down, you want to tighten down the side that has the washer so you don't scratch the powder coat off. These aren't going to corrode. I mean, it's aluminum, so they're not going to rust is what I meant. But if you tighten them up from the outside, you can scratch off that powder coat, and it's up to you if you want to do that when you're tightening it up. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing it to get started, using the wrench to get started on the inside. And then as soon as it gets tight, I'm coming back in and just using the wrench to tighten it down. All right, let's finish up the top, do the middle, then do the inside, and we'll be done with this. We can move on to putting our traction boards on here, which I think will be really cool. And that'll be the end of the live stream. So if you guys have any questions, put those in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them while we're waiting on me to tighten this up. Okay, that's done. Let's go on the inside. Tighten these two down. There is a stabilization plate or extra support. I'll put that on very last. If you guys are wondering. Yeah, Ford Transits have this lock feature, so you can actually lock the door open so it doesn't move. And when you install something like this, you're going to want to use that feature, because if you don't, the rack's going to hit your van, or it's going to hit your sliding door, or your tire carrier is going to hit your van or sliding door, because once you install these aftermarket products, then your bumpers that Ford gave you to protect the van no longer protect the van. Like if the door accidentally swings open too wide. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so this looks good. Let's just temporarily put this up here. I say that so I can just slam the door shut. So again, when you first have this, you're going to want to easily close the door because you got a lot of weight on it now. Same thing with this. Unlock it. Okay, that feels really good. Let's just do a nice easy close. I'm gonna do a little bit harder. Okay. Wow. Man, that is on the van. As it should be, obviously. Okay, now we got the rack on here. Let's move this camera to a different location so you guys can see more of the rack. Okay, that's what we have installed. That thing is on the van. Now, I went on Amazon and I found these, let's see if I can, where'd they go? I found this kit. It's called Recovery Track Mounting Pins. Very basic, nice and simple. A lot of stuff on Amazon, in the off-road world is not as simple. So these bolts that look like this. They have a nut that you can tie down to put these on. And in my opinion, it's just a bolt with a clamp on the end, but a lot of the ones that I saw they're really overpriced. So I found ones that were reasonable. And I'm hoping actually all right, it's gonna look like I'm gonna need some fender washers here. So this kit comes with these two brackets right here. and they are not wide enough for our tracks that we have. So we've got these Smitty-built tracks that I got in an off-road store, and see our bracket's just not wide enough. So we're not going to use that, obviously. So I've got a bag of zinc-plated washers. This is just painted steel, so a little bit. These washers should do pretty good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to, let's find some holes on here. Okay, that looks perfect. Yeah, we're just going to find an even spot to mount these up, and then we're going to mount them up. There we go. I knew I had some of those. That's what I'm talking about. Check out those. Got some nice stainless steel fender washers. This will be perfect. This will be perfect. All right, so the way to think about these is they're essentially just studs. They're just studs with a collar, and what we want to do is we want to adjust this back pin so that we have enough actually, I'm going to do this before I start talking about all this. I'll probably correct what I'm saying. All right, let's see where we can fit it. If you're watching this and you don't know what traction boards are, that's okay. They're pretty much a board that you put on the ground to gain traction. So say this is your tire. This will go on the ground, and then your tire can grip into this, whether in your mud, sand, snow. It's just to help you get out of a bad situation. So let's put this here. And it looks like these slots up here, this is where we're going to be. Okay, right there. So these two, this row. Give me some tape so I can visually see this. Come down right there. Okay, so this row, so in between that one and that one. Okay, so we have to put it, there's this sliding adjustable area. That's where we're going to start. And to be honest, this these holes in this rack it's so perfect. I don't actually think I'm gonna use the fender washer. I think we're actually just gonna use what came in the kit. I'm actually gonna come back later in the video. I mean, not in this video, but I will come back later. Or I might do it now. You're definitely going to have to put Loctite on this. There's no question about that. just enough to where we can move that back and forth. I took the sleeve off. I'm not going to use the sleeve right in this moment. Check our alignment. Our goal is to have it in between these two pieces of tape. Okay, so those are perfect. So the ones on the bottom, yeah, this will work. They're just plastic. If this was any bit of substantial weight, I would go and get some different hardware, but this stuff is not. It's just two plastic boards. They don't weigh that much. All right, so this side doesn't have a place to go. How can we fix that? Yeah, that's the problem about universal fit. I could drill another hole. I could do that. So I'm not going to do that for right now. I'm just going to put it right here. Obviously, we won't keep the studs this long. I'm just doing this to see how this thing's going to fit. That's pretty much it. It's really that simple. I'm actually going to look online for some ideas about these knobs. If you guys have any ideas on how to improve these knobs, you're going to have some type of locking knob. This knob is not, because really the knob is to turn on this stud, this little sleeve here, but the sleeve in my case is not, it's not long enough. That's pretty much it. That is traction boards on the back of an adventure van. We're still able to open the door, close it. We've got our spare tire carrier. So yeah, we can check the back of this van off the list. The only other time you're going to see this van is we need to put in the organizers in the back and then plumb it. But that's it. So, all right. If you guys have made it this far, that is awesome, because I want to talk to you guys about the DIY van build cheat sheet. So if you guys don't know what the DIY van build cheat sheet is, it is essentially an Excel sheet of the last 3 years of all of my Amazon purchases, and they're all organized. There's over 250 curated items on that list. And the best part is it's completely free. So all you got to do is sign up to get it, put your name and email address, and it'll send it right to your inbox. Just to give an inside look at it, you've got all the stuff from cargo storage, electrical, fasteners, hardware, onboard air, security, solar, tools. And tools is one of the best things about this list. So you'll look at the list, you go over here and kind of hover on the Amazon link. And let me change the zoom here. There we go. So hover on the Amazon, and you can actually see the product. For some reason, it's not working right now. Anyway, but this is the list. You got the Amazon link, and it's all the stuff that I use in the shop. The water pumps are there, so stuff that you'll be seeing me, put in the van. You just hop over here, and there it is. Hold on a second. Okay, it was working a second ago. There we go. So see, you can see the pump, you can see the fittings, you can see the sink, you can see strainer. The DIY van build cheat sheet, it's always growing. More stuff that we find, more stuff that we build or build in the shop and use this for. So check it out. DIY van build cheat sheet, completely free. Put your name and address, email address in there, and you'll get it sent right to your inbox. And I think it'll really help you out with your van builds. All right, we also need to talk about Odyssey Custom Vans. So that is my van building business, the business that is building the van behind me and the other build that we got in the shop. So if you guys are interested in the van behind me, it is currently for sale. There is a description and photos on the internet, on the website, that is. And if you want to, click on the Adventure Van Expo video that we did in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is going to walk you through a tour of the van to show you what's in the van. Again, like I mentioned, the back of the van where the water system is, we're saving that for a special video to go over plumbing of a van. But that's really the only thing we had to do today. You guys saw we put the rack on the back. We've got the Flatline Vanco rear tire carrier. So it's a decked out adventure van. It's an all-wheel drive Ford Transit with the EcoBoost. That's the turbocharged V6. It's on a 350 chassis, so it's the heavy-duty chassis. Again, all-wheel drive. BF Goodwrench KO2 tires, all-terrain tires. We have a 600 amp hour lithium iron phosphate system with a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter. It does have 30 amp shore power and 420 watts of rooftop solar. So definitely can handle all of your power needs. We have heat and AC in this van. We have a Dometic RTX 2000 12 volt rooftop unit, which is extremely efficient. And then we have a really nice Webasto Airtop Evo 40. And what's cool about the Evo series is it is altitude auto adjusting for altitude. So if you're going up to super high mountains, like in the Rockies, for example, that'll definitely help you out. It's connected to the auxiliary fuel port of the Ford Transit, so there's no auxiliary tank that you have to mess with. It comes right out of your gas tank, and it is a gasoline heater. Then the kitchen, we got the Rivati stainless steel sink. Everybody loves that. We have the Isotherm Cruise 130, huge 12-volt free refrigerator and freezer. You're going to get 4 gallons of hot water, 40 gallons of fresh water, 7 gallons of gray for the sink, and then a separate, which is really important, a separate gray tank just for the hidden shower pan in the floor. And that's going to be a hidden Tetravan shower. We are throwing in a Porta Potty 365 from Thetford. We got the exterior shower in the back as well. And all these products, not sponsored, but most of the installments in the van are from Flatline Vanco, like we were talking about. If you guys want a quick overview and some build photos, just go online. You can check out the build. We've got all CRL windows. They're the T-vent style, both on the passenger and the driver side. We've got the rear AW1033 awning style windows in the back, which, as you guys know, if you watch this channel, those are my favorite. We decided to powder coat the factory wheels because they look excellent. So we powder coated the factory wheels. Making sure you get the correct offset on these vans is a challenge. So staying with factory wheels and powder coating them kind of is the best of both worlds. And it does have 255 70 16 BFG tires on it, and those are the biggest tires that you can put on a stock height Ford Transit. It does lift the van up a little bit just because of the outer diameter of the tires. So you do have some really good ground clearance, and again, it's an all-wheel drive van. We put the Ford Transit Trail grill from Europe. This is a European model grill, and it does snap right into this Ford Transit, but it's awesome. That Raptor style grill looks super cool. There's those wheels. Flatline Vanco roof rack with side ladder, shore power, rigid, CRL. We've got our sink, isotherm fridge, excellent storage. So we've got the Flatline Vanco upper cabinets that I really like. And the bamboo theme is really what I wanted to go with on this van, and it just looks amazing. The fit and finish of installing this Dometic RTX 2000 AC, really proud of that, how clean and recessed I was able to do it in the top of the van. Again, going with simplicity, simple components to use. You've got the Renogy One system. So that's their new system where you can communicate with the individual batteries, their cell voltages, the 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter charger. So that allows it to have the shore power capabilities. You can monitor everything from this one panel, and these three pieces of these are actually switches. So they're the interior lights, the indirect lighting for the interior, and the exterior amber scene light, or kind of like you want to call like a patio light. We have our max fan, which is the 7500K. We've got the Renogy inverter switch, which I always like to have independent, so it's just easy and quick to turn the inverter off and on. And then we've got the Webasto Bluetooth controller for the Webasto heater, so you can control it from when you're in the bed. You don't have to get up. You can warm the van up before you get out of bed in the morning. It's really, really nice. Some other features, we have independently switched dual pole breakers for the solar panels, which is really important. Not a lot of people do this, but it's just very important because a solar panel is always on. So if you don't have a breaker to independently shut one off, depending on how you have it wired, then it's always going to be live. So this just helps for maintenance, as well as full disconnect. And then these are thermostatically controlled exhaust fans for the battery system. So in this photo, the cover's not on, but we do have the cover finished now. I'm actually going to show that to you since you guys are here. So I'm not sure. I prepped everything to clean it up for our install. So let me try to neaten some stuff up here. But yeah, let's just take a look at this side, since this side is all finished over here. So on the inside of the van, I know you can't see it, but we have our breaker. We're going to turn this power system on. We've got our intake for the power system for the inverter, and then this is that switch. But now, if you guys look in here, we have finished the interior. So we've got a really cool LED spanning the top of the power system, and that's just going to give it a really nice glow when you're in here to look at all your components. It's really just more of a show-off feature. However, the acrylic allows you to also look at your Renogy DC to DC chargers and look at how they're doing. So they will give you information depending on what lights are certain colors. Right here is your adjustable thermostat for the interior. So if you want to keep your batteries and inverter this area at a certain temperature, so it doesn't get too hot, I've preset it to start cooling the system down when it gets above 80 degrees. But you can set it to whatever you like, higher or lower. Yeah, and then we got this pull-out tray down here. So this is not in what you guys saw on the computer. Yeah, but a little bit wider view of the interior of the van. It does have a Friedman flip and fold seat, which is awesome. That's going to allow you to take extra passengers with you, but it's up and out of the way when nobody's in the van. So you got a lot of space to move around. So there's the top of our van with the 420 watts of solar. So we got two 20-watt panel over here, and then two 100 Renogys with a max fan in the middle. I got a Lagoon table mount as you come into the door. There's that scene light outside. I like the amber. It's just much softer. You can keep it on, enjoy outside a whole lot better in the evening. And then when it's time to relax, you've got a nice Fiamma manual F45S awning. So you don't have to worry about motor messing up or anything. It's just simple manual in and out awning. It's very quick to deploy. The German Shepherd is not included, but this is the van. So if you guys are interested in purchasing this van, you can contact me at sales@odysseycustomvans.com. There's my number, or the best way to get in touch with me is to schedule a call. So you can click on the scheduler, find a day, like tomorrow, for example, wide open. You can schedule time to chat with me about the van. If you're not interested in this van, but you're interested in doing a personal custom build, over here on the left is how to get started on that. So just a couple little tips. It's the same process, but I'll just let you know about what vans we have in the shop for purchase, options of bringing on your own van, building, schedule, and design, and then next steps, how we do pricing. And yeah, we can hop on a call, and I'd be excited to talk to you about your future van build plans. But yeah, that is going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for checking out the live stream. I hope you enjoyed all the updates to the shop, the doors that we are working on tonight. So yeah, we're going to have more content. I'm going to go now and go pick up that plug that I need for the Dynavin system, so I can check that off my list for today. And we're going to move on to the next thing. So we've already got one of the windows in that we showed you. We're cutting out the other window in the van. And then from there, we're going to start working on the window pills, kind of planning that for everything being cut out. And while that's going on, what I'm probably going to do is go ahead and map out the floor. So start cutting out the templates for the floor. And yeah, we're going to get trucking on the build. So look forward for more videos, more content. If you guys have any questions, put those in the comment section below. Happy to answer them in a future video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Share this video with anybody that is working on their DIY build and maybe needs some help. We have a lot of other videos on the channel to help anyone out with anything that is DIY van build related. And until then, I will see you guys in the next live stream.